Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 24th, 2024 at approximately 4:33 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together we can, well, that worked out well. Working together, we can make this a world that is better for virtually everybody. And I did that completely wrong. And that being said, not to worry about it. Gives you an idea what my day's been like. Anyway, I'm just going to put this out there because some of you caught me and may have caught me over on Nathan's Quantum Show. And there was an altercation that happened. Somebody made a comment that went over like a lead balloon. Now, for those of you that are not aware, number one, I don't have a whole lot of tolerance anymore for stupidity. And frankly, it boils down to this. We're going to be going through a lot of different races today, okay, and a lot of different issues. But let's get one thing straight. None of them are interested in taking over the world. Nobody and none of the off-worlders are running things here. This is all mankind's doing. Okay. And the issue of this being a prison planet, unless I missed something completely, prison last I heard meant nobody could come in and take people out on day pass. Now, yeah, absolutely things went sour and I come unglued. Okay, in all fairness, if you have watched the show, I almost walked off the site. But we have Joe is in with the gold. How you doing, Joe? Hope things are going well for you. Now, I will tell you one other little detail here. I just got to get it out of my pocket. About 7 years ago, okay, I used to walk around, for those of you that wonder about crystals, I used to walk around with this little combination quartz and smoky quartz and clear quartz. Okay, I kept that one in my right pocket. And this one, which is moldavite, it's the only gem quality type of stone that comes from off-world that we're aware of at this point. Now, I carried that one in my left pocket. Throughout all of that, nothing ever got to me. Okay, within about 4 months of losing this little crystal, I ended up with a wonderful little problem where I had a stroke. And everything is pretty much history since then. Willard, how are you doing? You are in with the silver. Glad you could join us. I don't honestly think I've seen you in here before, so let's deal with this. Where we go? Yeah. Willard's just reporting goes, ever since I almost died at birth from rare beef, and my late mom was full-blooded Caucasian Cherokee Indian, and had John Malkovich abilities plus omen dreams. Oh, plus omen dreams. I inherited that. You know, Willard, I will tell you, I've spent my life trying to get a handle on things like that. They can be absolutely twisted. Okay. But with that in mind, if you're having troubles coping with them, there are ways. Okay. One of the first things I would strongly recommend if you're having dreams like that, okay, it would be really important to write them down in as much detail as you can. Even if they seem completely whacked out, write them down. Okay. The reality of it is this. Nobody else has to believe them. You simply have to accept they're coming in for a reason. Okay. And it can be a little disconcerting. Ow. I do not like high-pitched screams, especially when there's somebody in the house to scream. That was painful. Where we go? Went to the next room in the hospital and prayed to God, don't take my grandson, take me. Next morning, I was healthy and never allergic again. And yeah, that's the funny thing. Okay. And we are going to cover that in a lot of different areas here. Not the least of which is going to be, and rest assured here, Willard, I am not bypassing what you're going through. Okay. I strongly recommend all of your interactions, all of your memories. Write them down as best you can. I think in the way of past lives, I've got like 22 documented. Okay. Telepathic, in my case, it's uncontrolled. It's a pain in the neck, I'll tell you. Now, the neat part about it. Now, we're going to be looking at specifically races today. Okay. So rest assured, Willard, I'm not ignoring what you're looking at here. But it may have more you may have more going on than you're aware of. Now, where are we? That neat little book. The information I've got in here. Now, we do have pictures that are available with some of this. The first race we're going to be dealing with, as I told everybody on, Friday. Friday? I don't even know what today is. Oh, today's
Saturday.
Monday. Okay, so it was Saturday. Gives you an idea how my day's going. As I told everybody, we're going to deal with the Angelus first. Okay. Now, did I miss somebody here? Oh, we did so. Joe got the gold, Willard with the silver. Nathan with his quantum show is in here with the bronze. He goes listening from work back and forth. Well, we all know that work has to come first. And welcome aboard, Storm. Thank you so much for all your effort. Really appreciated. Hopefully things will stay settled today. And I think I missed LA coming in here earlier. I caught it first. I don't know. What have I got here? There's Storm, Willard. Yeah, there's LA. How you doing, LA? Hopefully things are working well. Thanks again for trying to help me find that. Unfortunately, the pendant is the bracelet is still missing. And sometimes that happens in a real problem. Now, one of the biggest things when we start looking at the Angelus, okay, and there we go. Those are Angelus, okay. These are individuals, and like there's a lot more information. There'll be even more than what I've got here. Okay. I do believe I've got something wrong there. Anyway, that's okay. You are dealing, well, let's get that out of the way. Now, the Angelists are extremely passionate in everything. Okay. Meaning whether they are socially interacting, having a party, playing intimately with each other, or at war. Okay. They take it right to the hilt. These people ask no quarter, they give no quarter. But you have two different groups. Okay. Now, number one, when you're actually looking at their governmental setup, it depends entirely on what they are going after. Okay, it's not technically a government per se. Okay, I mean, it is. They have a monarchy, but each individual group, it doesn't come down in a standard tier. Okay, you're not going kings, queens, princes, etc. Okay, the reason for that is because they look at it this way. Whoever has the most qualifications to handle a given project, that's the one that gets moved into position. Okay. Sometimes that will be a young Angelus. Okay. Sometimes it'll be a young one. Sometimes it'll be a senior. but it is a patriarchal monarchy. Okay, and I'm going to put those back in my pocket before I forget what I did with them. Because I'll tell you, 7 years, I've been fighting health issues. And I don't know about you, but I'm really fed up with them. Okay, now, there are two very distinct, there's technically three distinct types of Angionis. Okay, you've got the white-winged Angionis. Those are the ones most people see. Most humans see them as angels. Okay. And by human definition, that's what you'd call them. In combat, they do prefer what humans would call melee weapons. And rest assured, these are not people you want to fight with. Because on top of the normal combat that humans would understand, the Angionis happen to have aerial combat down to a fine art. Okay, and by the way, just to be clear, we are talking about people that will literally, because of the way they operate, their maneuverability is something bizarre. Very creative individuals. If you're looking at artwork, these guys produce phenomenal works, both in the physical, when you look at the physical realm, such as carving, that sort of thing, or you look at things like optical art, okay, holograms, that sort of thing, as well as sonic art. And they can literally create an image in the air with their voice. Okay, but you've got three different types that you look at. You've got your white-winged. Okay, these are your healers. These are the people that they specialize. Now, all Angionis can heal or kill. Take your pick. But the white-winged are primarily healers. Okay, and depending on who they are, they may end up evolving into something a little bit more complicated. But they're the ones that are laid back. They're the ones that come down and bring warnings and say, hey, you're going down the wrong path. Sadly, humans have been notorious at ignoring warnings. Okay, now, we're not going to get into history as far as what the history books tell you about different events. Okay, and the appearance of angels coming in. Angels have been walking on Earth for literally millennia. They are still here to this day. Okay, but they are here to help guide. They come down, the white-winged ones will come down with either with a cautious warning or to help heal in certain cases. Okay, now they do not have the same drive, if you will, the Pleiadians do. Now, here's the thing. The Angionis do not require ships. This is why you never see them on ships. They transfer from the physical realm to the etheric and back to the physical. Essentially, it's going to look like they come from another dimension. They do not. They are still third dimensional. Let's be clear. Everything that you can conceive, that you can visually or auditorially pick up, is third dimensional. Okay. Oh, there you go. Yeah, and Joe's just saying he invited his older sister, Mary, over today at 4 p.m. Eastern to go for a walk in the cemetery. In the cemetery? That's a new word for you there. In the cemetery. And I'll tell you, it is a wonderful little setup. Now, what do we got here? Now, the neat little part about it. Yeah. Joe goes, I didn't want to do that by myself for obvious reasons. Now, the neat little part about it. Yeah. Willard, just to be clear, I'm not going to pull that apart altogether. Not right now, that's for certain. Okay. But definitely document it for yourself. Now, the Angelists they've got a really neat setup. And I'm just pulling this here. Yeah. They are helpers. Now, the white-winged are the ones that are going to come in and help. The black-winged ones, those are the ones you want to be cautious of, because they're the ones that strike first and ask you second. They're the ones that come down if you've crossed the line. Now, not too many humans will run into black-winged Angelists. Okay, that's just not the way that works. The black-winged ones are the ones that come down when war is called. They're the ones that will come down and lead the host into a battle, but you don't want to get into a battle with these guys. You got to remember, yes, they are roughly human size. Okay, 5-6 feet tall, but they can appear larger. And you got to understand, with the wings they've got, when you're dealing with somebody with a 6 foot height, you're dealing with 18 to 20 foot wingspan. Okay, in order to get off the ground. Now, they do believe in one higher entity. They, like humans, refer to that entity as God. Okay. Now, the nice little part about it is, as with humans, Angelists have free will and free choice. Freedom of will, freedom of choice. They do not have freedom from consequence. Okay. They just don't. Okay. Now, the nice part about it is when you actually meet them, if you're being congenial, they likely are not going to show their wings. The wings are usually an issue of saying, okay, now we're about to get serious. Now, some of you I've met, I know, are Angelists. There is a third type, by the way. And you'll see them. I only know of a couple, and I debate the couple. But I have seen Angelists with leather wings. Now, those are the ones that can travel comfortably between the Angelist realm and the Daemon realm. Okay, that's the neat part about it, is they are the ones that can come and go. Rest assured, peaceable, healing individuals, absolutely. If you think the black-winged Angelists are a rough bunch, the leather-winged ones, you're not going to want to tangle with them because they got no sense of ha-ha. But you got to remember with these guys, okay, they are literally, okay, they come down to help all creatures, human, animal, and plant, as well as off-world and ancient race. Okay, they are here to help anybody in the realm of their guidelines. Okay, they are here as guides for humans. They are not here to fight humans' battles. They will, however, if you ask for assistance, they will give you the guidance required so you can get what you're aiming for. Okay. Let me, yeah, Joseph's going, there's statues and stuff on gravestones back there. Yeah, many of the people, Renee, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Well, let's face it, plumbers kind of have to be dealt with, or you end up with a flood in your basement. Hopefully things went well on that. Yeah, the nice part there, Joe, is when you're looking at the statues back there, and you'll notice some of them likely have angels or, for instance, the Virgin Mary These are normal additions to a grave. Okay. And what it is people put them there for really to guard the theory is to guard their soul. Okay. Oh, that's a typo. Okay. Rachel, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The neat part about it is this. I've seen the Anjonas. Now, I will tell you this. There's a rumor, and it actually applies to the Itawari, but it boils down to the same thing. Okay. When you're dealing with the Anjonas, I've seen the other side of the rainbow. These guys live in a world that is just phenomenal. Okay. Now, you've undoubtedly seen an artist's rendition of the Anjonas relaxing on clouds. They can do that because they can literally modify the density and net result actually sit on a cloud. Okay. Sometimes they do it just because they want to. Sometimes they do it to make a start. Okay. It's kind of a wonderful thing when you look at the Anjonas. They will deal quite readily with people, but don't kid yourself. They are the white-winged ones, and I probably should have thought this through, but the white-winged Anjonas will talk first. You say something, they will step in, they will answer your question if at all possible. Don't kid yourself, though. If you push the wrong button, they will react. Now, the black-winged, those ones, it doesn't take much to set them off, but they come in prepped for war to start with. They do not come in prepped for peace. They come in expecting a fight. Okay, so we are dealing with an incredible amount of people. Now, here's the funny thing. People keep going, and like I hear humans all the time, where, we end up, this is the way we are. Okay. And we're going to defend ourselves. The off-worlders can come, and we can chase them away. Not likely. Understand, one Anjonas, okay, just to put combat in perspective, they do prefer melee weapons, what humans call medieval weapons, in hand-to-hand combat, because it is more like dancing than anything else. Now, the white-winged they carry a melee weapon with them. The black-winged Anjonas will use whatever they can, and they have been known to literally shatter, and I don't mean break, I don't mean stall, I mean shatter the core of a turbine engine just by screaming at it. Okay. They've also been known to tear the cockpit off, tear the cockpit off of a jet, off a human jet, if the jet is going into a problem and it wasn't trying to create a bigger problem. For instance, if you're out learning to fly and you're out just getting your pilot's license, if you will, and you have a hiccup, okay, a black-winged Anjonas is likely to show up. Okay, they are likely to show up and tear the cockpit off just to get the human out. Okay, so you may have a human going, it was stuck. I don't know how I got out. Odds are an Anjonas showed up, tore the cockpit off, and released you. LA, yes, the Anjonas have free will as well. They have free will, free choice. What they don't have is freedom of consequence. Now, I'm going to throw a wrench into people because I have to go down. I've got to go down sort of the religious path. Okay. And no, I'm not going to start going, oh, you got to believe in God. No, you don't. You've also got the free choice for that. The fact that I do, the fact that the Anjonas do, no problem. But here's the kicker. There is a rumor that Satan, that Lucifer was cast out of the heavens because he went after God's throne. This is not the case. Do not get me wrong. I know what it says in the books. And yeah, in answer to that wonderful little issue, I go up here. See this funny thing? They call it a Bible. I did tell my father on his deathbed I was going to read it cover to cover. So I'm about a third of the way through now. I said, no, somewhere between a quarter and a third. In any event, when you look back, my understanding is this. Lucifer was not, now let's understand something. Lucifer was her name. Okay. Satan was her title. Okay, but here's the thing. She was not cast out as in thrown out. It was a question of mankind was going down a very long road. Okay. Lucifer was sent down. She was sent down. Okay. In other words, we need somebody down there to take and to guide these people because they missed the boat badly. Okay. So, yeah, cast out certainly. Sent. Let's face it. Think about fishing. Okay. When you're fishing from shore, you cast your hook into the river. You don't throw the rod away. You cast out to collect. Okay. Now, that said, and there's a whole lot that goes down that. That's why I'm not going very far on it. But the angels come down to individuals, especially to people that believe very wholeheartedly in God. Okay, in God, in angels, that sort of thing. Okay. But they are given guidelines they have to follow. And yes, there is a hierarchy. You do have archangels. Okay. And I honestly don't recall all the ones that are all the archangels. I suspect there should be 12 listed. I just don't recall right offhand. I've got it written down. I'm looking into it. Like I told you guys, I've got like a book, a ream of paper on notes on different races. That's just part of it. Now, if you're worried about, the angels are going to come down, the angelics are going to come, and they're going to carry all of us away. No, they're not. Okay. And I know some of you are going, but I've been told otherwise. No problem. I'm not here to debate whether or not people remember the same thing. Okay. I will tell you, some of you will say, oh, I've met you before. I'm not going to confirm or deny it until you tell me something that you remember. If it meshes with my memories, it'll become pretty blatantly obvious. Then we got something to work on. Took my glasses off. Bad idea. LA. The primary colors they've got are white and black. Okay, now some of the archangels will have a golden hue to their skin, to their feathers as well. Okay, but that has more to do when you start getting into the blue and the golden hue or the silver hue. This is because they are much more closely connected to their God. Okay, you will find they do have those little claws on the end of the elbow joint. Okay, and those are some deadly. Now, the angels can come and go from Earth. Okay, it's just they tend not to show their wings. I can't picture why a humanoid 5.5, 6 feet tall doesn't just spread its wings and say, hey, I'm here. Bear in mind, you can kill an Angelus with a spear. Okay, or a gun. You can kill them. But you got to remember, when you kill them, you better make sure they're dead. These guys have a bad habit of getting up after a fatal wound. Okay. But that's because of the fact they are natural born healers. Which means, hate to tell you this, regeneration is alive and well. Now, that neat little question, we always get questions dumped into our hands. Okay. Well, do they eat people? No. Okay, they really don't. They don't have that kind of a fetish. They do eat meat. They do eat vegetables, fruit. They eat a basically human diet. Granted, some of their meals are a little different than human, but that's okay. But the Angonists are a liaison between the upper realms and Earth. But they are here and have been here ever since, well, quite frankly, they came in when humans were built in the first place. They came in to watch the birthing. Okay. And that's why many times, because of their fine features, and you'll love this, maybe, many people have mistaken an elephant without wings, as in they've kept the wings concealed. They've mistaken an Angonist without wings for an elephant. Okay, fine features, fine boned, but you really don't want to underestimate them. Okay, now I was going to go somewhere with that because clearly things are going to get a little entertaining. But the Angonists itself, okay, the Angonists themselves are here for one reason: to help guide mankind down the path, down the right path, as in, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Now, you'll love this one. Okay, when we take a look at Lucifer, okay, Lucifer was frankly Michael's sister. And yes, I did say that. Okay, and I know you guys are going to go, oh no, God did, none of the angels were female and Lucifer was definitely male. I know what you've been told. On the whole, I just wasn't told that very well because, frankly, I met the two of them. Okay, and the reality of it is this: those two had two big jobs. Now, when you take a look at Lucifer's job, it was to teach one thing. Now, you'll notice all stories about the Angonist Lucifer. You'll notice that all of those talk about how much she would stand her ground on a contract. Now, yes, she'll twist the daylights out of it. She will find any loophole available. But her purpose in coming down here was to say, hey, you've got free will. God laid all this out for you. He gave you all this stuff to work with. You've got free will. You've got free choice. He did not come down to corrupt anybody. She came down to simply say, you've got a choice, but be aware of the consequences. And for pity's sakes, the biggest thing that she came down for was to say, hey, here's contract law. Verbal contract, written contract, contract written in blood, doesn't matter. They all hold the same weight. Okay. Now, some are a little more theatrical. In case you hadn't noticed, signing a contract in blood has a certain bit of a twisted quality to it. But she came down to say, hey, if you're going to say something, if you're going to say you did this, okay, then absolutely something you got to realize, okay, is back it up. If at all possible, follow your words, follow what you said, and back it up with action. Okay, very important from that standpoint. The intriguing part of the whole thing is this: the Angonists themselves are allies of humans. They came here to literally back up humans and support them on their journey, which means you've got the option of calling on any one of the angels. Okay. Or you can call on occupants from interplanetary space, but that's another issue. The Angonists are an off-worlder. They did not evolve on Earth. Now, for those of you that think that go, oh, when I die, I can become an angel. In definition, in basic definition, certainly, absolutely, you can carry on helping people. Okay, you can absolutely carry on helping people. That is an earthbound angel. Okay, somebody that goes out of their way to help other people. That is what the Angonists came to help you with. Okay, get you on the right track for. Are you going to all of a sudden sprout wings and fly around in the heavens? Not unless you happen to be a hybrid. Or yes, there are half-breed angels. Most half-breeds don't stay on Earth long. Okay. In other words, the answer to that question, can an Angonist and a human cross propagate? The answer is yes, they can. They're built essentially the same way. Okay. The same way as humans, that is. So, I mean, that's the first thing we look at. Now, are the Angonists gods? No. And by the way, that neat little rebellion that you've been told about, this is the neat part about it. And you're going to love this because everybody's going to sit there and go, oh my gosh, he's arguing about what's written in the Bible. I'm not arguing about what's written in the Bible. I'm telling you what's written in the Bible it doesn't match with what I've seen. You get to figure out what to do with it. But the revolt that everybody talks about where Satan led these thousands of people of Angonists in a revolt against God, you do realize the fallacy of that thinking. Well, maybe you don't. But think of it. God creates everything. And a bunch of little upstarts now throw a revolt. You do realize if that were the case, God goes, gone. Except God gave free will and freedom of choice. Now, yes, there have been arguments, there have been debates. Let's face it, not all kids get along with their parents. Okay, but a lot of what you've been told about the Angonists is incomplete or misguided in my experience. Now, I'm not here to tell people whether your experience is right, wrong, or indifferent. Only whether or not it meshes with what I know. That's all. Now, I will tell you the one thing that we got to remember. In answer to that question, nobody's gotten around to asking. You can, once you pass away, you can absolutely turn around and come back. You can incarnate as an Angonist. The Angonist body is what you're talking about reincarnating in. Basically, you're getting a new vehicle that's got wings and a few other little perks. Now, there's a lot more that could be said about the Angonists. Quite frankly, I could go back and forth, and given the information I've gotten, this is why I'm adding it to the races of the world. Okay. With that in mind, I do want to take a look at some of the other ones, at some of the other races we've got. So let's take a look at, and we'll go with the Gadafni. Okay. Now, again, the Angonists and the Gadafni are in races of the world. Okay. Now, the Gadafni, you know them as the Nords. Okay. The reason humans called them Nordic is because first and foremost, they surfaced in the Nordic homelands. Okay. But what they ended up doing when they got here was humans looked at them and looked at them and their abilities and went, oh my gosh, you guys are gods. Well, the Gadafni looked at it and went, okay, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean to you? Understand, Gadafni are not gods. But when they showed up in Norway, okay, yeah, when they showed up in Norway and the Norse turned around and went, "Oh, you're gods." Understand? They showed up and took on the form. Well, took on the form, they were born with it. They look very similar to what the Nords did. Okay, to what the Norsemen did, but they were a lot bigger. And I think I've got, and this is where I run into some problems. Yeah, thought I had that right. Now, you got to remember, way back, okay, most of the time your humans were only 5.5 feet tall. Gaddafi were 6 to 7. Okay, and built like a flaming freight train. Oh, LA, that's the neat thing. If an angelist comes down to help a human and the human says, says, "I don't want your help. I don't require your help." The angelist goes, "No problem. I got other people on the line. We'll leave you alone. If you need help, give us. If you find it gets too much, give one of us a call. We'll come back down." But they don't force it. That's the nice part about it. It is literally help. That if you're asking for help, okay, they'll come and give you a hand. If you don't desire it, they do not take offense. They don't force it. They just simply go, "Okay, you don't desire it right now. You're not getting it right now." Okay, so you don't have to worry about offending them. Okay, you might be able to. I don't know how you'd go about it, but okay. Now the Gaddafi themselves, they got here and they literally went, "Okay, we are, you're calling us gods, no problem. What does that mean?" And they started bringing out, treasure. They brought out shiny things. They brought out all the food they could eat. Okay, and all the succulent dishes and what have you. And the Gaddafi went, "Bonus. I like this. So, since we're gods, meet Odin. He's our leader." In all fairness, he was the captain of the ship. Okay, he wasn't the leader of the Gaddafi. Now, you've heard tell that the Gaddafi came from that the Norse gods came from Olympus. They did. Okay, there's no question there. They did. The problem is this: Olympus isn't on Earth. Okay, but nobody bothered asking him that. Now, here's the neat part. Okay, when you take a look at it, for those of you, again, we're talking history. Okay, I can't prove what I'm saying, so let's not go there. You want proof, you get a lot more fun. Okay, you might have to wait 30 or 40 years, but hey, live with it. The Gaddafi do come from Mount Olympus, but Mount Olympus isn't on Earth. Okay, so when they came in, everything was going fine. People were worshiping them. And again, remember that funny little thing that apparently God said, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me"? Yeah. You remember that other thing he said? You have free will, free choice. Okay. So when the human said, "You guys are gods," remember, God himself was not physically here very long. So, of course, here we have these great big fantastic physiques. These people were works of art in their own right. And when the humans went, "You guys are gods," the Gaddafi fell right in. Okay, bonus. So you end up with a lot of different ones passing around. Now, here's the kicker to it. Along come the along come and I shouldn't have done the Gaddafi first, but there is another race we won't be getting to today that had this same interaction. A couple of them really. But the Galactic Consortium showed up on the scene because everybody goes, what happened to the north, the Greek gods and the Roman gods? Where'd they go? Well, first thing you gotta realize is these were all the same gods. They were all the same people. But when the consortium arrived on site, they showed up, and bear in mind, one of the consortium laws is you do not take a position of power on a planet. So the consortium shows up and goes, Gaddafi, hate to tell you this, you're not gods. Go home. Okay. Net result, the Norse gods, the Roman gods, the Greek gods, they vanished virtually overnight. Now, they did so there were some stragglers, okay, because they had set things so much in motion that that humans required a little bit of adjustment guidance. Okay, and to handle that adjustment guidance, the Angelics came back down and said, hey guys, there's all kinds of problems here. We got to sort things out. Okay, let's get you back on track, governing yourselves, taking care of yourselves, and let's scrap this idea that these people are gods. They are not. Okay, you're going to see them as gods. Of course, you got to remember, if you yourself take a Bic lighter into the Congolesian jungle, and you got a bunch of people that have never seen one before, conceal that lighter, and you go, hocus pocus, and you got flame coming out of your hand. You are, according to them, a god. Okay. Now, understand, the Gaddafi did not require worshippers, but they loved the attention. Little bit egocentric. Okay. A little bit megalomaniacal on some people's cases. But the Gaddafi have their own vehicles. They've got them, they just don't use them much. Okay, you'll usually find Gaddafi with the Zeta Reticulans. We'll get to that in just a second. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything important here. Of course, guys, if you've got a question, as Ellie has done a couple of times already, if you've got a question, come right out and ask. I am looking, where are we? There. Okay, now, most of the time when you're looking for the ships, most of the time, the Gaddafi, now bear in mind, they come in a standard saucer. Often they are traveling with the Reticulans. Okay, Nathan, bad news. I'm not going to be dealing with the click clock today, but we will be dealing with it next week. Okay, just to let you know. Now, the Gaddafi are very simple, man. They're very simple. They like their stuff. Okay, so when all of a sudden humans were giving them all these riches, the Gaddafi went, hey, it's shiny, it's nice. Great, we'll take it. Okay, some of them had a little bit of a flair, and they do have the capacity. Understand, they are so far beyond human tech that it's absolutely mind-boggling. But the Gaddafi do have, basically you're looking at a tiered setup. Yes, they are governed by an overall. And I believe I've got it listed down if I don't have it in this one, I've got it in the second printing. But they are set up very much in a tiered, in a caste system. And you are born in the Gaddafi society. You're born into a certain, if you will, skill set. But the thing is, they still give you free will. Let's say you're born to a blacksmith family. Like, for instance, I believe, and I'm not really entirely certain, but I believe the way that Norse mythology goes, Hephaestus was the armorer. Okay. And the thing is, he was. On the other hand, just because he was that did not mean that his kids had to become armorers. They had free will to go where they would. Okay. Nice thing about the Gaddafi education system. Okay. Children were exposed to everything. They weren't told, in human history, if you were a cobbler, it was expected your kids would be cobblers, as in shoemakers. In the Gaddafi society, okay, you were expected to do one thing: work hard, play hard, and absolutely be honest. Okay. Now, there were some that weren't. Sorry, guys, there is not a single race that everybody behaves the same way. Okay. It just doesn't work that way. But the Gaddafi are a very amicable race. I will tell you, there's only one race that likes their alcohol more than the Gaddafi, and they're not an off-worlder. Okay. The Gaddafi are known for long, drawn-out parties. Okay. Nothing compared to the Dwarven Society, to the Korbor. You know them as dwarves. But nothing compared to them. But the Gaddafi are battle-hardened. They are, from the youngest to the oldest, they are still battle-hardened. Because this is a race that grew up in a very volatile area. Okay. So when you take a look at them, you'll notice with the picture that Storm has put up for us, you'll notice the armor it's not complete. It's not like they're walking around in solid armor. Okay. Comfort is a thing for them. Okay. That's the thing that you got to realize. Plus, and you'll love this. Now, if you take a look at human combat and human war, humans have helmets and what have you. But in the Middle Ages, especially, they wore full suits of metal. Okay, the Gaddafi, the reason they had helmets was not because of the fact that they wanted to protect their heads. Okay, I mean, it's a good idea, but it's because their entire communication array was built into the helmet, which meant they could coordinate dozens of times faster than other races, save the telepaths. But you're looking at a race that the only reason they looked down on people was literally they looked down on people because they were too tall. Because the Gaddafi were taller. But they also had this neat little tendency of going, if you're going to make a claim, if you're going to, you'll love this, because the Gaddafi had an interesting setup, and the bikers of Earth adopted the same idea from the bikers I talked to, and some of you out there are bikers. I know this, okay, but the ones I met up here were brilliant. Okay, if you pick a fight with a biker or with a Gaddafi, okay, if you pick a fight, if you make a challenge, it's one-on-one. It's that simple. With the Gaddafi, they had a simple rule. You attack one of them, be it a senior, a child, a woman, a man, didn't matter. You attack one, the entire community is going to come looking for you. This is not likely to end well. And by the way, yes, Gaddafi hold a grudge. Okay, you set one off, the odds are he's going to hold it for a very long time. I don't have it in there. I wonder if I left it open or did I close it? No, I closed it. Okay. Oh, by the way, one of the things I really don't have an answer for you right now in case somebody asks. Oh, heavens no, Nathan. Their primary goal is quite frankly storytelling. Okay. Nathan's going, I hope combat is not the primary goal of these guys. Not at all. But combat is their way of exercise. You go to the gym, or other people go to the gym to work out. These guys go to the battlefield. Now, if they're just going out for exercise, they're taking practice weapons. They're taking wooden weapons. They're taking, okay. Yeah, they are very, very relaxed. Okay. Now, when we're dealing with them relaxing, music is a big thing. Music and dance were the big things. Okay. Drinking just made it easier or more difficult depending on how much you drink. Okay. But their mechanical skills, they're not the best. But what they specialized in was communication. They developed technology for their armor that enabled them to communicate auditorily, visually, okay, or sonically. Well, sonically, they could do it on any front. Okay. What they didn't have was they didn't develop a computer system built into the armor. Okay, aside from component parts. Now, their art was literally, they looked at dance as art. They didn't do a lot in the way of carving or in the way of that kind of fine, what we call fine art. Okay, most of theirs was physical. In all fairness, Joe, and Joe's just asking where, and Joe Stewart is asking where do they like to hang out? For the most part, they literally hang out now back in on Olympus. The thing is, when they were here, they were known to frequent the bars. The better the alcohol or the better the music, the more likely they were to arrive. But they didn't go there to fight. Okay, and the reason they didn't is because number one, don't spill the beer. Okay, you just don't. That's just a bad idea. This is why the Gaddafi and the Corbour get along so well. But they would relax. They would tell stories. Quite often, they would drag as many tables together as they could. Okay, because they were very close knit. So you walk in, if you're Gaddafi on your own, you walk into a bar, and there's another Gaddafi over in the corner. You didn't even have to really worry about it. You just walked over and planted yourself. Humans have this thing, and I agree with it. Ask. But in Gaddafi society, it's just a natural thing. You just go in, you join the party. When you're looking at their weapons, for the most part, here's where it gets weird. For the most part, they stayed with melee if they were dealing with melee people. But here's the kicker. You're in the middle of a melee fight. And all of a sudden, a high-tech combatant comes into the picture and tries taking everybody. This is a bad move. Gaddafi have weapons that are sonic and light-based. Okay. The original lightsaber was designed, it wasn't actually a light, it wasn't built of light. But what they did was they ionized the blade itself. And that result, it was kind of like hitting somebody with a cutting torch. And for those of you that actually have used I believe it's called an arc welder. Okay. Some of you know that way better than I do. I didn't take mechanics or building of any form. But the Gaddafi have neat little ideas. Now, here's this. Okay, you've seen humans do this with a shield. The shield gets held up, and you take your weapon, and you bang it. Okay, problem. Humans make noise. And Gaddafi takes a mace and bangs the shield. He's actually setting off a sonic impact. And he's going to split that oncoming army clean in half, depending on how hard he hits. Resonant frequency is something they understand all too well. But they do not live for war. Okay? They fight to exercise. Kind of like MMA fighting with weapons. Okay, but like I said, whenever they're playing with weapons, okay, if they're not actually in combat, they're literally using practice weapons. Okay, so we are dealing with, and yes, they did, by the way, they did like and the primitive, or if you will, more natural modes of transportation. Okay, they still like working with horses. They still like working with that kind of equipment. Because again, in their eyes, it's an honor thing. Any Jack-a-ninny can drop a bomb. Any Jack-a-ninny can shoot across the field with a laser. And you don't even have to have any finesse. You get a laser going and away it goes. You just cut everything down. So what the Gaddafi did was they went, okay, you want to play that game? We're going to simply take our shield, hit a couple of buttons on it, okay, and all of a sudden, that laser that you're firing is simply charging, how do I put this? They are simply charging their vehicles, their equipment with radiant energy that is designed to go back. It fills the weapon in the first place, and then the excess goes to charge. They don't like wasting. Okay. So, and yes, there's a whole lot more to them. But rest assured, these guys are more interested in relaxing, in celebrating life. Okay. And anything that improves their health, improves their ability. Let's face it, if you want to dance, you got to be in good shape, cardiologically speaking. The Gaddafi understand that. Okay. They've taught humans for centuries how to fight. Okay. But they were doing it, they didn't go, oh, here's some powerful weapons, now you can beat your enemies. They went, you want to beat your enemy, that's no problem. Here's a stick. Now let's show you how to use a stick properly so you can beat your enemies. Okay. Or better yet, take your stick, take it to the enemy, match it up with their stick, and here's how you can make fire a little bit more effectively. Or here's a stick and here's a stone. Now, let's get into carving and let's bleed off some of that anxiety. Gaddafi they are not an aggressive race. There are aggressive races out there, and some Gaddafi were. Some humans are pacifists, some humans are nice, some humans are guess what? Okay, every race has variations. Now, with that in mind, let's move down here. Let's take a look at the Zeta Reticulans for a second, shall we? These are the people you guys know as the Greys. Okay. Yeah, no, Robert, they are absolutely not warmongers. Okay. They are literally, they are actually, as far as war goes, they don't see the point to it. Why kill perfectly good people that may be phenomenally creative? Okay. Do they have the capacity for war? Certainly. Okay, now Stormer will get the picture of the Zeta Reticulans up. Okay. Zeta Reticulans are what you know as gray. Now, bearing in mind they're around the 3 foot mark. There we go. Now, that's a Zeta Reticulum D that's up there right now. Those are your controllers. If you watch Close Encounters of Close Encounters of a Third Kind, this is what you saw. There was one tall one in the back in that final scene. The Zeta Reticulum D are literally the controllers. They're the ones that say, hey, here's the research project we've got to deal with. Okay, but the Zeta Reticulum D are only 4.5 feet tall. These are fragile entities. Okay, they are not physically overpowering. So, what the Zeta Reticulum did, a lot of the time, you'll find that Zeta Reticulans will bring with them a Gadefni. This is because Gadefni look human. Okay, and therefore, people seem to relax a little more if they've got a human around instead of a 3-fingered, 3-foot, bald, big-eyed individual. And before we get there, well, no, we just got there. Again, if you've got questions, absolutely ask. Okay, absolutely ask. I will do my best to keep an eye on and give you an answer. But let's start with the obvious. To me, it's obvious. The Zeta Reticulans, first and foremost, are not dying out. They are not photocopies. They are not clones of themselves and abducting humans to replicate themselves and to carry on their life. And I know this rumor is going around there. It could be a little further from the truth, but I don't know how I'd do it. They are a very vibrant race. But what they did do, and they have been abducting people for centuries. Well, in all fairness, they've been doing it for millennia. Ever since mankind surfaced. The tall ones that we just showed Rachel, are the Zeta Reticulum D. They're the lawmakers of the Zeta Reticulans. They're the ones that decide, this is what we're researching. This is the information we require. You guys are working as a team. Go out and get this. Okay. They're the ones that organize it. And they do have a very simple outlook on that. This is your job. Go do it. The Zeta Reticulans are broken into, and I've got a number of different editions. Again, the information is in here. But here's the neat kicker to it. Zeta Reticulans are the scientists. Okay, as in they're the ones that are behind the hybridization program, which we will be getting to, but not tonight. Okay, the programs we're getting to tomorrow. Today is, I don't even know what day I'm working on here. But we will get to the hybridization program, later this week. But the tall ones are literally the ones that simply go, here's what we're doing. Now you guys go out. Now the Zeta Reticulans, thanks, Ellie. Gives you an idea what my day's been like, doesn't it? Unfortunately, I am temporally challenged, as in I really don't track time well. There's a lot of reasons for that. But when you look at the Zeta Reticulans, they are the scientists. These are the ones involved in the higher sciences, if you will, in the hybridization program, in the medical advancements. They're the ones that are working on that. Okay. Now there are other ones, okay, that are going to be added to this book, to Race of the Worlds. Okay, because you have the agricultural branch and the architectural branch that are still Zeta Reticulans. Well, they're like the Zeta Reticulans. They look very much like Zeta Reticulans. Okay, but you've got a number of different, there are that I'm aware of, and I don't know if I've broken them all down yet, but that I'm aware of, there are at least 15 different races of Zeta Reticulan. Okay, Just like humans have Caucasians, Orientals, Africans, okay, so we've got different races as well. So do the Zeta Reticulans. They all look similar. They are all capable of crossbreeding, if you will. Okay. Technically, they could theoretically do it with humans. I don't know why they'd bother. Okay. Thanks, LA. Yeah, LA is just going, don't feel too bad. I had to look it up. But the Zeta Reticulans, they are of a community mind. Everybody has a job. Everybody goes and does it. Now, if you ever see a saucer, if you ever see a normal, standard saucer, if you will, flying through the sky, there's no bubble on it. They are just a saucer. Okay. This is the Zeta Reticulan ship. Okay. Now, the same ship configuration is used by the Gaddafi, by the way. Okay, but they end up interchanging technology a lot. But they are a community mind. In other words, and let me just see if I put this down right. I believe I did. What am I looking for? Mine's working really well. Sometimes. I'll watch. See, I had to change a lot of things around in the new book. I did. So I left them in the first one. I had them listed as graves. But I put a lot of stuff out that I should have taken a lot more time to put it out. There we are. Yeah, I thought I had that right. The Zeta Reticulan Society is a socialist society. Everybody works, everybody eats. There are ones that get crippled, absolutely. And they get found other jobs. Okay. Just because you happen to be less physically adept. And let's face it, take a look at the Zetas. Kevin, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Just a thought. I gotta ask though, Kevin, do you live in a city or do you live out in the country? And yeah, I will keep an eye open to see about getting the answer there. Heck, let's do it this way. If you're in the city, you may have trouble seeing ships. Okay. If you're in the country, it's easy. Perfect. When you go out at night, obviously, this is going to sound really stupid. Obviously, look to the skies. But what you do is you watch don't just watch for seeing the lights. Watch the stars. Okay, and the reason you do that. Okay. We're going to call this your ship. Okay. Now, ship's up in the air. And you're one. Well, this is a star run. Here's your ship here. Okay. You watch the stars. And watch what happens. We'll call that a star, that a star, that a star, that a star. Okay. And you're watching for this. You notice how it vanishes in sequence. And then pops back up. Okay. That's what you're looking for. Because what you're seeing, if the stars are blinking out and turning back into play, okay, if that's what's happening, you're finally running into one of these. Oh, nice. Yeah. And Joe's going, I never want to see one of these guys out my upstairs window at night. I've seen a lot, but this is not one of them. Yeah. It can be a little disconcerting. I gotta ask, Rachel, I'm glad you had a healing experience with them. I gotta ask, if you don't mind my asking, if you're willing to share what it was that they repaired. And again, you gotta remember, with the Zeta Reticulans, they take care of their own. Everybody works, everybody eats. There is no such thing as a poor Zeta. Okay. There are certainly handicapped ones. Okay. There are certainly ones, you know, I do not understand that, but that's okay. I don't have to. There are certainly grays that have been hurt. Okay. But they are never looked down upon as a lesser individual. Because the thing is, let's say you end up with a Zeta whose legs no longer work. They don't amputate them, they don't kill them, they don't replace them. They get them into a job that they can work. In other words, okay, you used to be a carpenter, now you can't do that because, well, you can't stand up. So let's get you working on data recovery. Oh, okay. I appreciate the clarification there, LA. See, I get called a lot of things. Some of them are repeatable in polite company. The nice thing with the Zetas is they did build the hybridization program. I don't doubt that with you at all, Nathan. Nathan's just going, yep. There's a whole nerdy story about how I got to call her OB12. And we're just not going to go there right now for obvious reasons. But the Zeta Reticulans, what they do, yes, they do abduct people. They do, they do take samples. Absolutely, they do. Okay. But you got to remember, they've got a neat little thing that's called it's called the Dexel Spanalizer. Okay, that's the tool they use, and we will discuss that when we get into the technological side of things. Okay, but the Zetas, what they do is they turn around and go, okay, what are you still capable of doing? Because Zetas hate sitting around doing nothing. Okay, but they also, when they abduct somebody, and before anybody jumps on that, no, they're not culling the people so they can, so they can get new bodies. This is fear mongering. The Zetas are not doing this. They are doing the same thing humans are doing in a lot of ways. Okay, and that is they abduct somebody, they take fluid samples, they take bio readings, they put them back. Now, humans do this to tigers and lions and grizzly bears and fish and you name it. Okay, humans don't like being taken. By the way, neither do tigers and lions. Okay, but humans don't ask any more than the Zetas do. The difference is, while the Zetas are doing the extraction, they are implanting. They are literally creating a false memory, usually in the form of an owl or a bear. Sorry, an owl or a deer, because they're easy to put together. They're easy to implant, and they're less threatening. Let's face it. Who is going to be afraid of a deer? Aside from the one hunter I saw. He gave up hunting. Okay. It's sad to say there was this guy who was always hunting, goes out into the bush, go to hunting, and he was a good hunter. But he goes out in the bushes one day, and all of a sudden, I think it was a 6-point buck, come out of the bush and started just beating the daylights out of him. So his wife had to actually beat the deer off, chase the deer off. I guess the deer didn't like being hunted. Humans don't like it much, right? So the wife beat the deer off. The next year, when the guy went to go hunting, he got out there, got a deer lined up in his sights, and his hands started shaking so bad he couldn't even hold on to the gun. So he hung it up and quit hunting. Kevin goes, as I look out my window and see a deer in the field. Yeah, nice. I miss those days. I used to live in an area where I could do that. Now I don't see deer very often. Of course, I'm in the middle of the city, so that might explain that. But when you take a look at the Zetas, they are literally tracking everything about humans. And the reason they do it is because humans are the easiest cell structure to actually build the hybridization program. These guys are broken down. When I say there's different races, okay, you've got the scientists that are doing the things like chemistry and the medical interaction. You've got your herbalists, your agriculturalists. They simply go, humans go, you're human, you're an agriculturalist. The Zetas go, you're a reticulan, certainly, but you're a beta reticulan, you're a theta reticulan, you're a zeta reticulan. You get the idea. Now, I haven't broken all of them down yet. Working on it. Okay. And of course, somebody out there is going to be going, well, where are you getting your information? Well, let me ask you this. What do you think is the easiest place, or more to the point, the most accurate place to get your information from? Rachel goes, long story, but the healing was being flooded with love when I felt my body was shutting down. Body was shaking like someone with seizures. Heart felt like it was going to burst. And hard to breathe. Ouch. Not fun. Okay. Definitely not fun. Being in similar situations, but I'll tell you, anybody going through what you went through, Rachel, hats off to you for holding your head together. And thank you so much for sharing. I really do appreciate it. This is just another example of these off-worlders coming here, not for combat, not for conquest. They are here to help. They are here to study. Okay. And some of them are great at it. Some I question. Of course, I do the same thing with human doctors. Okay. Now, the one thing, and you may have to search your memory for this. I'm not asking you to do it, Rachel. This is between you and whoever you choose. But search your memory. My suspicion is that the Zetas actually told you what set it off. Or they either told you or they simply discussed it. Okay, while they were working on you. Okay. Now, I'm looking for a technological artist. Okay. So I can get some of the tools drawn up. Because rest assured, you don't want me doing the drawing. But now, where are we here? Oh, wild. And here I was thinking originally I was going to look at 6 races today. Guess what didn't happen? But here's the good news for you. We're going to be all of next week. Okay. Like we're going to go through this. But all of next week, we're going to be looking at other races. Some of them are in the book. Some of them probably won't be. Okay. But you got to understand, in Races of the Worlds. Okay. Yes, I've got humans in this. So this has 59. I think it's got 59 races. I think that's what it is. 59 or 60. Where are we? I'm not going to count them right now. But I think it's either got 59 or 60 races in Races of the Worlds. Okay. I have documented 100 and just over 120. Okay. And the answer to that question is yes. I absolutely. These are the ones I've personally dealt with. I don't do a lot of research about reading up on what other people have gone through. This is why some of what I tell you may not mesh with what you've been told. Now, I do want to get to another one. We are at 6 o'clock here. Okay. So I've definitely taken longer than I was planning on, but it's okay. Now, what do we got? Oh, we've gone through 3. That's not bad. Better than I thought. Now, I talked about this one before. Storm, if you would be kind enough to bring up the Sarkon. Okay, that would be appreciated. There we go. Now, these guys are 10 to 15 feet tall when they're adults. Something you got to realize. People keep going, well, why don't the aliens just show themselves? Now, picture that race showing up on Earth and just popping out of the starship and going, hey, I'm here. This may not be a great setup. Okay. Don't think I've got the. I know I've got the Sargon. I just don't know if I actually specified in the book what the ship was. No, they are not actually in book one. But the Sargon, number one, they are a combat race. They are not here to fight. Okay, they are a carnivorous race, which means you don't have, the definition of humans having fast food. You go to fast food. Well, in the human world, this means you go into a place, get served fast, you get something that passes for food. Okay. What have we got? Yeah, no doubt. When you take a look at the Sargon, their idea of fast food is it can outrun them. Now, understand these guys are 15 feet tall. Okay. When they run, they do not run on two legs. Okay. They run on all four. Okay. That tail that you see, that is a weapon. Okay. It works very similar to what a crocodile's tail does. They use it as a weapon, as a balance point. But you'll notice on the back of that picture, you'll notice on the top of the tail, you'll notice a bunch of ridges. Okay, those are razor sharp. They are also full of veins because it's also their heat sink. Okay, now as you can tell, these guys, when they get into a fight, they go into it all wholeheartedly. But here's the thing with the Sargon. Okay, they are a man. They are a patriarch. They are an expanding race. But centuries and way more than centuries, millennia back, the Sargon expanded their empire too fast. Humans are on the verge of doing the same thing. But what the Sargon figured out too late was they got all the expanse out there, and they found they had grown too quick, and they ended up leaving 3 of their other outlying worlds behind. Okay, now bear in mind, when they colonized a planet, the people that colonized there they brought this stuff with them to be able to continue the expansion. These guys like expanding. They like everything big. Okay, but the problem that they ran into was they expanded too fast. And net result, they went, we cannot support this. So they took a couple of years. I think some reports said they had ongoing shuttles taking on for somewhere around 5 Sargon cycles. Okay, solar cycles, in order to get the gear set up to make sure that the people were taken care of. Okay, it wasn't a question of, let's colonize this planet and cut them off. Okay, it was, guys, we have a problem. We are going to have to cut support. We've got a problem on the home front. In all fairness, what happened on the home front was they had a massive plague that was wiping them out too fast. And what they did was they said, okay, scrap that. We're not getting a handle on it. So they shipped sterile containers with the gear over to the outlying ranges. And they went, okay, we've got to cut communication because we've got to isolate ourselves. They were the forebears of the Tormenon, the Strazazian, and the Kamalian. Okay, they all came from the Sarkon. Net result, they're all expansion oriented, but with their own agendas. Okay, they were left well equipped with the ability to communicate. Now, the Sarkon did survive. They beat the plague, very much like the Black Death here. We managed to beat it. And I'll tell you, that's a long story. That's a lifetime. I made a lot of money on that lifetime. Of course, I was an immune doctor. But the Sarkon are a very expansion-oriented race. Are they violent? Absolutely. Okay, they go into a battle, and there may not be as many bodies left over as you might think, because they'll eat them for lunch while they're in the middle of a fight. You know, it literally boils down to if they decide to go into and you got to remember, Sarkon are armored. They grow their own armor. Okay, small arms fire from human weapons will bounce off their hide. Okay, you don't want to deal with them that way. Okay, now the neat part about it, if you take a look at the Sarkon, they desire to build. It's that simple. They desire to expand. Now, they do not expand voraciously. In other words, they don't go, oh, we're going to take over this planet, that planet. They look for planets they can live on, okay, that are unoccupied. They follow consortium law, and they go, okay, that's already occupied. It's already got a dominant race. We'll leave that one alone. They may set up a foothold there for research purposes, but they won't set out to conquer it. Like I said, they're expansion-oriented, not conquest-oriented. Okay, but they believe wholeheartedly in you. From their standpoint, they are expansionists. They are also hunters. Okay, now in Starship, on the Starship, they have extremely dangerous weapons. Okay, but in close combat, they prefer hand-to-hand. And if you take a look at the weapons they grow, okay, you don't want to tangle with these guys. And I love it when humans go, oh, it doesn't matter, we're just going to chase them off. Yeah. Have you ever run from a chihuahua with no teeth? Okay, that's what you're looking at. If you take a look at the size of them, some of the bigger ones, a human will fit completely inside their mouth. Usually this is not a voluntary thing on the human's part. Okay, now the neat part about it is you may, and I haven't taken a look at a lot of the fossilized footprints, but if you take a look at the footprints there, you may find Sarkonian footprints in the through the ages of dinosaurs. Because guess what they came into Earth for? You know, guess what the Sarkon would come to Earth for? You know, it's actually quite simple. You know, the Moldocs do it as well, but Sarkon come here, especially, now they don't come here now, but during the time of the dinosaurs, they did come here for hunting. Let's face it, some of the critters, some of the dinosaurs wandering around are pretty formidable, but the Sarkon like the challenge. So when they go hunting, they don't take firearms. You know, they don't take bows and arrows. They don't even take rocks. They prefer hand-to-hand combat. Okay, so they grew to a certain point. They expanded too fast and had to shear off 3 of their outlying communities. I think there's a 4th one, but I haven't talked to them about it yet. I do know that, and I'm only going to mention these guys briefly, the Teklet are not, yeah, very much there, Ellie. You know, the Teklet are not related to the Sarkon. Okay. And then he goes, I suspect a dinosaur would give them a decent meal as long as you went after the right ones. I mean, let's face it. You go after a Struthiomimus, it's going to give you a snack. You want a meal at that size? What you're looking for is you're looking for either a Supersaurus or a Brachiosaurus, something on that size. But the Sarkon they are an expansion race, but they are hunters. Okay, now let's see if we can get one more in here. What do we got here? Oh, this is the other one. Storm, if you would be kind enough to find the Zerzics, that'd be appreciated. The neat part about this, now the Zerzics they are an energy race. They are also the only race I know of that has successfully made the transition from one rendition of reality to the next. Okay, there's been a number that have tried, but the Zerzics have been successful at it. Okay, and they are an energy. They are simply an energy spark. Okay, they don't have ships of any form because, well, let's face it, it just doesn't add up to needing one. I do believe, well, I know I've got them here. Whoop. Yes, I look in my own book because, quite frankly, my memory is shot. Oh, there we go. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to put something in. Now, there you go. That's a Zerzics. The odds they have been on Earth. Some of them still come here. Now, the Zerzics themselves. Number one, they are literally governed by the strongest. Okay, but they are non-combative. They are literally seeking information. That's all they do. They collect it from everyone and everything. Okay, as a matter of fact, it's these guys. I just got to be able to read that. And we are down to 20 minutes. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, the T-Rex would. And for a Sarkon to bring down T-Rex, they would absolutely have to go at it as a team. Because, well, Sarkon, 15 feet. T-Rex, 50. I'm thinking there's a height discrepancy. Okay, but the Zerzics, they are. Now, everybody says, oh, I want to go to the Akashic Records. Some of you can get there on your own. Most of you probably require somebody to go there for you. These are the Zerzics are the guys that run the Akashic Records. They are the ones that literally go, okay, we'll file all this information on this person here. And they are extremely good at it. If you think the Romans were good at record keeping, you should try these guys. Of course, bear in mind, they are totally interconnected. Picture, if you will, a free-flowing brain where all the neurons go off and do their own thing. Still free will, still freedom of choice. Okay, but they work in unison. They do not have a hive mind per se, but they go out. They replicate, by the way. I believe it's called, and I'm probably wrong on this. So if I am, just correct me and I'll be happy with it. I think they call it mitosis. Okay, where you literally split in two. Okay, and become two independent. This is how they replicate. But they replicate at will. There is no gestational period. It's just, I'm looking for information. I need a little bit of backup, and okay, I got a little backup. But they still have free will. Okay, so when the Zerzics go about, you don't ever worry about the Zerzics fighting. Okay, they won't fight. Well, it's not that they're pacifists. It's the corporeal body and the non-corporeal one runs on bioelectrics. these guys are bioelectrics, and they will quite readily, if threatened, they will shut down every bioelectric around them. Okay, neat part is they're immune to each other. In other words, the Zerzics cannot shut down the Zerzics. So, needless to say, we've got a race that will, and I don't have an idea, a record of how old are they. I can tell you that they made the transition from the last rendition of reality. You guys have heard of the Big Bang Theory, theoretically. Thanks for the confirmation there, LA. LA just confirmed that the aspect of splitting in two, okay, and just that's how you replicate. Not half as fun as what humans use, but that's how they replicate. But they don't have a gestational period, unless you call a microsecond or a nanosecond a gestational period. They replicate on demand. Okay, there's no social interaction per se, but they are totally connected. Which means if you ever watch, I guess the best way to put it, to look at it, is if you see a nebula, okay, that neat little floating cloud thing out in outer space, it's a good bet you're looking at a Zerzics colony. They don't have a home world. For obvious reasons, they don't exactly require ships. But they track everything. But what it is they track it, and their claim to fame is they will guide anybody that asks. They will guide anybody to the Akashic Records. Okay, now they do have strict rules. You can only access your own Akashic Records unless you've given somebody else the permission. In other words, if you happen to know somebody that can access the Akashic Records, and they ask you to, and you ask them to do so, the Zerzics will enable them to do so. But if you just go in there going, I want to know all about Keith's background, good luck with that. Okay, I mean, it's easier to just ask me. I'll tell you what I can. But the Zerzics are record keepers and information sharers. Okay, they do not have any sort of a thing of, oh, we're better than you because we keep the records. They go, oh, the records have to be kept. And well, we don't die really, so we're just going to do this. That is what their entire drive is. Okay, they don't have any other drive for it. So we are looking at a race that is quite versatile, if you will. And what do we got here? Oh, I think I gave you a sixth one. Did I not there, Storm? I forget at this point.
No, you only gave me 5.
Okay, that's where I threw myself for a loop. Well, Nathan, if you're still here, we might just well pop this one. Possibly. Storm, do you by any chance have a picture of the Cleek Lock there?
Of which one again?
The Cleek Lock, the Mantis.
I think so. Hang on. Let me search. Okay. What's the name again?
Cleek Lock. K-L-I-K.
Yeah. Cleek Lock, regular and hybrid. Which one do you want?
Oh, set up the regular first, if you would be kind enough.
No problem. Give me 1 second to import this, and
thanks so much for sharing your time with us, Kevin. Now, the neat thing, and this is a figure we missed. I forgot to get the sixth one in I was going to deal with. I'm actually amazed I got through them. But when we take a look at the clean clock, this is literally for you there, Nathan. Okay, so hopefully you're still floating around. The clean clock, you guys would know them as the mantis. Okay. Now, they are an interesting race, to say the least. And let's just make sure I got the right information here. There we are. That's what I thought. And there we have it. Now, these guys are a wonderful group of people. Oh, I believe they're close to the 7-foot mark, if I remember correctly. So give me 10 seconds just to double check that. Well, keep trying to look for them that way, it ain't gonna work. Yep. Okay. These guys from the top of their head to the ground are about the 7-foot mark. Okay. But you'll notice that now they are combat oriented, absolutely. Okay. But they are military and technologically oriented. If you'll notice, if you look at that picture, you'll notice the forearms. These are not just rough armor. Those are razor sharp spikes. Okay. And when you take a look at them, okay, you'll notice they've got 4 and 6 limbs. The 2 back ones are just for standing. The 2 on the ground are multi-purpose. Okay, they are essentially hands as well. Now, they are a militaristic monarchy. They are here because they're researching humans. They're not here to create a problem. They are here to defend themselves. In other words, they already know humans are extremely volatile, extremely immature, and very aggressive. These guys want to know what they're up against. But they are armored. Okay. They are very much armored. Basically, it boils down to they grow a carapace. Try and get through that with a modern gun. These guys just give you an idea of the thickness and the articulation of the armor. Okay. You take a 460 Magnum, a sniper's rifle. Okay. It'll bounce. Unless you target the eyes. Now, the other thing that if you want to pop up if you've got the hybrid, this is the only race that I've actually gotten. There we go. Now, you'll notice that neat little thing under his arm. Hybrids have 4 arms and 2 legs. Okay. The neat part about it is they utilize sonic weaponry. And that gun he's hanging on to will liquefy biomatter. It doesn't just punch a hole. It literally sets a chain of reaction. This is their claim to fame. They do not see. You gotta remember, they break a lot of their food down before they even imbibe it. There is another race. Which are they? There's another race that does it the same way, a little bit more direct, but the Kleeklok are military, and they don't when we talk about not taking prisoners, no, they take food sources, but they are abducting people and turning them back over, and turning them back to like leaving them as human, putting them back in place. The only time that the military aspect comes into play is if they are going to war. Okay. If they're going to war, then they are very militaristic, very combative. On the whole, they're not interested in the combat. They want to know strengths and weaknesses. That's what they are studying. Therefore, if you've been abducted by a mantis, the odds are they're not looking to hybridize you. They're not looking to take over your body. They are simply looking to see what your strengths and weaknesses are of the human race in case the human race gets out of hand. Now, why therefore did they bother hybridizing? Well, in all fairness, the Kleeklok didn't create the hybrid. The Zetas did. And the reason the Zetas did it was literally it was in order for the Kleeklok to understand humans better. Okay. So it was essentially part of the consortium issue of, okay, you're worried about this. We'll grow you a couple of we'll grow you a number of hybrids so you can start to understand them. Because your fear is justified. Now these guys are, number one, far further advanced technologically speaking than man. Socially, little questionable. Think they are, I forget offhand. I'm just looking for what the government was. Other ones. There we go. Thought so. They are a monarchy. Okay, but their claim is that they simply want to protect their people. Okay, they had a run-in century, like millennia back, with the Sarkon. Okay, the Sarkon wanted to expand. The Kleeklok are a lot more concerned. They're not exactly xenophobic, but they are absolutely a lot more cautious than many races. Now, we are going to go, absolutely, and this is straight to you, Nathan. Drop me a line because next week, we're down to the 5-minute here. So next week, we're going to deal with a lot, like starting on Friday, we're going to deal with a lot of different races. Okay, primarily that's what we're going to be looking at. But Nathan, drop me a line, give me questions that you're looking for, and I'll make sure I've got the answers for you. Now, this said, guys, thank you. So we're at the 5-minute mark here. So thank you so very much for sharing your time with us. Really appreciate it. Okay, if you do have questions, drop me a line. I will do my best to answer them. Until tomorrow, because we will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to look at the creative side of the whole issue of these races. Okay, and we're going to show one of the big things I'm going to do there is show how I took the races of the world and took those races to flip them around into this. Okay, into the Elderbachian Chronicles. Races of the World handles the data. Elderbachian Chronicles handles some of the social interaction. With that in mind, guys, I will see you again tomorrow. Thanks so much, LA and Storm. Really, really appreciate the help. And as for the rest of you guys, absolutely, thank you for sharing your time with us. We will see you again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.